Hi student, myself I'm Akhila, Assistant Professor of Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning Department in BVRIT, Narsapur. My course is Operating Systems. Today I want to tell the topic in operating system. The topic is types of operating systems. We have several types of operating systems. Those are multitasking, distributed, real-time, networking, multiprocessing, and simple batch operating system and time sharing. Like that, several operating systems we have. In that, I selected 7 types of operating system. Those are main operating systems I have selected. Now I want to explain one by one. These are all those 7 types of operating systems. Those are batch operating system, multi-programming operating system, multi-process system, time-sharing operating system, distributed operating system, network operating system, real-time operating system. The first one is batch operating system. This is the basic operating system we have. The batch operating system, how it will work? In this batch operating system, all users are giving their programs or giving their jobs manually in the punch cards. Like punch cards means it's a manual paper cards. In this punch cards, the users are providing their jobs, providing their programs in that punch cards. Those punch cards are manually selected by the operator in the middle of operating system. In the middle of operating system and the user, operator is there. He selected those punch cards from the users and he divided those punch cards and he segregate those punch cards and he divide similar types of jobs into one place and he grouped those jobs into batches. Like that, for example, in batch A, similar types of jobs or programs. Here in this operating system, jobs or program or process, those are nothing but the same meaning. So here in this batch A, similar types of jobs are there, and in batch B, similar types of jobs are there. Like that, operator was divided the batches and he sent to the batches to the operating system. In that operating system, CPU is there in our main memory, and that CPU was executed batches one by one. If CPU selected one job first, he executed that job properly. At that time, in the middle of the execution, if any IO device interrupt is there for that batch, the batch was doing that IO operation. At that time, CPU was in idle stage. It not take any it doesn't take next job. So in this batch operating system, that is the main disadvantage. In this batch operating system, CPU idle time is more. So that's why we, for overcome this batch operating system, the next operating system is there, that is multi-program operating system. First of all, the example of this batch operating system is banking systems and payroll systems are there. In there, we use this type of batch operating systems, simple batch operating systems. The advantages and disadvantages we have in our batch operating system, those are, first of all, advantages, we have multi-user interaction with the operating system. So multiple users can share the batch systems. And the second one is the idle time for the batch system is very less. Idle time for the batch system means here for batch system we have more number of batches is there, right? So that's why we can interact with the operating system in a more manner. So that's why here idle time for batch system is very less. So here mainly CPU time was very less. In this batch operating system, CPU utilization time was very less because that is in idle position, because after batch 1 completion only CPU allocated for the batch 2. So that's why here CPU idle time is very large. So that's why here the idle time for batch system is very less. Next one, it is easy to manage. These type of batch operating system we can easily manage in our large work spaces like in banking sectors. So they mostly use these type of batch operating systems. Next, disadvantages of batch operating system. We have main disadvantage, that is that CPU idle time only. So in this batch operating system, CPU is not used efficiently. We can't use CPU in a proper manner. So because the CPU placed in a idle position. So when the current process is doing IO operation, CPU is free. He is in idle position. So that's why the proper utilization of CPU is not there. That is the main disadvantage of batch operating system. Next one, the other jobs will have to wait for an unknown time. So because of one batch completion of is there, right? So remaining jobs are in a waiting position. So that's why this is the disadvantage for this batch operating system. And the next operating system, that is multi-programming operating system. In this multi-programming operating system, the drawback is there in our batch operating system is there, right? To overcome that CPU utilization drawback is there in our batch operating system is there, right? To overcome that drawback, we introduce this multi-programming operating system. In this multi-programming operating system, it can be simply illustrated as more than one program in a one memory. Means here in this operating system, CPU was allocated for different types of programs one by one. First of all, CPU is access one program. He executed that program. After that only he go to that next program. So if any IO device interrupt is happen for process 1, CPU was not wait for that process. It simply go to the next process. It's not in an idle position. It simply goes to go to the next process and he executed that process 2. Like that, here CPU was switched from one process, one program to another program, and that program to another program. Like that, sequentially CPU executed the process one by one. The advantage of multi-programming operating system is CPU is better utilized and overall performance of system is improved. So here CPU idle stage is not there because CPU was not waiting for any process. It simply executed process one by one. If any IO interrupt is there, it simply ignore that process and it go to the next process. He executed that process simultaneously, and after that again it come back to that process. If any remaining execution is there and process 1, he executed that process at the end of the system. So the second advantage is it helps in reducing the response time. So by using this CPU better utilization, we can easily reduce our response time. We can easily access to the operating system in a less time. And the next operating system is multi-processing operating system. In this multi-processing operating system, we have multiple CPUs. Multiple CPUs are connected to one main memory. So in this multiprocessor, by using these multiple CPUs, we can execute multiple jobs or multiple programs or multiple processes simultaneously. So if any CPU got affected or got blocked, we can easily use remaining CPUs to execute the jobs. So that is the advantage of this multiprocessing, because in this multiprocessing we have more than one CPUs. The advantage of multiprocessing operating system is it increased the throughput. Increased throughput. Throughput means CPU execution time per unit. So in this we can execute multiple programs or multiple jobs in a less time. So it increased the throughput of the system. The next advantage is if one process fails, we have another one to execute that process. So in this diagram we have one CPU. If this CPU was affected by any system, so if it will damage, no problem. We can use these two CPUs for that jobs execution. And the disadvantage of this multi-processing operating system is it had a complex structure design, because we use more than one CPUs, right? The example of multi-processing operating system is Solaris and Linux. In this type of operating systems, Linux or Solaris operating system, we use this type of multi-processing operating systems. And the next one is multitasking and time sharing operating system. In this multitasking or time sharing operating system, how the processors are divided, in this type of operating system, all jobs or all programs have the limit time for execution. So here the time was divided for all programs for the execution. So here if we have 5 types of jobs is there, for example, 5 types of jobs is there. 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 For example, 5 every job required 2 milliseconds for execution for the example. But here the CPU allocation time for that jobs is 1 millisecond. So what happened? First CPU was going to the first program or first job. It execute the job for 1 millisecond. After that the CPU allocation time is over. So CPU have to go to the next job. But the job one was have the dedicated time for execution is 2 milliseconds. So what the CPU did, it execute for 1 millisecond. After that CPU went to the next job. After that CPU execute that job too. Like that CPU execute all jobs one by one. After completing the jobs, it again go back to the job one and it executed that remaining execution is there, right? So CPU execute that remaining in the job one. Like that here all jobs or all users are divided the time in an equivalent manner. So that's why the CPU utilization is properly utilized in this multitasking operating system. The advantage of these type of operating system is each task gets an equal opportunity. Here each job or each task, each program gets equal opportunity to execute the systems. After that, the next advantage is CPU idle time can be reduced. So, by proper utilization of CPU, we can reduce the idle time of the CPU. So, CPU idle time can be reduced. After that, resource sharing. Here, proper resource sharing is happened in between all jobs, because here the all jobs have divided the proper utilization of CPU. Here we can divide all jobs properly. Disadvantages of time sharing operating system. In this mainly we have, one must have to take care of the security, because if one job get failed, effect is there for one job, it will automatically reflected to the next job. So we must have to take care of the security and integrity of the user programs. And we have the complex structure for designing this type of multitasking or time sharing operating system. The structure is very complex, and we have the reliability problem, because if any job was failed, that was affected to the next that neighbor job. So that is the main problem. So these are the disadvantages of time sharing operating system. After that, we have the next operating system is distributed operating system. In this distributed operating system, we have more than one operating systems. Means those operating systems are loosely coupled in one network. So this type of operating system was organized in a loosely coupled manner. In this type of operating system, any job was there, those job was equally distributed among these operating system. Those operating systems are connected in one network, and those are worked simultaneously, and those operating systems are shared any jobs distributed, equal manner. So if in this type of operating system, all jobs are equally shared by each one. So these type of operating systems mainly used for increase the throughput of system. Means we can easily improve our throughput, means CPU utilization time. So by this we increase the throughput. These loosely coupled structure, by this type of loosely coupled structure, if any operating system was get affected, that was not affected by other operating system, because those are all independently connected to the communication network. So if any system failure, it will not affect to the remaining systems. So in this type of operating system, the advantages are, failure of one will not affect of the other network. So definitely if any failure was occurred in one system, that was not affected to overall through network, because those are all loosely coupled, those are all independently connected to the main network. And load on host computer is reduced. So here by using this type of architecture, we can easily reduce the load to the host computer. and the systems are easily scalable, as many systems can be easily added. So in this type of distributed operating system, we can easily add more number of operating systems, and we can easily remove operating systems. So we can easily increase the network space by using this type of design. So this is the main advantage, and the delay in the data processing is also reduced, difficulty process, and we can easily increase our performance of operating system, because at a time we can complete multiple jobs in this type of operating system. And the disadvantages of distributed operating system is it's expensive. Definitely it will expensive, because here the structure was very complex, and we can use more than one CPUs and more than one memory devices. Those are connected to the one network, right? And the main disadvantage is failure of main network will stop the entire communication, obviously, because this communication was connected by more than one systems, right? If any effect was there in this communication network, that will definitely affected to all operating systems. After that, the next operating system is networking operating system. In this networking operating system, we have a network like LAN network, for example. In this LAN network, LAN means local area network. In this local area network, multiple operating systems are connected to one server. So in this type of networking operating systems, we can use multiple resources like files, printers, security applications, like that. We can use multiple resources among in these multiple operating system by using one server. So these type of networking operating system, LAN networks, mainly we are used in our college, for example, in our college laboratories. In labs, we can use these type of networks. So in these labs, we have multiple number of systems in one place, but the server was placed in another place. So that server was remotely accessed to those networks. So here we can share multiple operations to among these all operating systems, and we can do multiple tasks at a time. The main advantages of networking operating systems are highly stable centralized servers. So here we have highly stable centralized servers. So by using one server, we can use multiple systems for execution any jobs. And the next one is security concerns are handled through servers. So if any security issues are there, so that those are easily handled by server. And the next one is new technologies and hardware upgradations are easily integrated into the system. So if any new technologies are, if any updations are there in our operating systems, those are easily integrated in the servers. And the next one is server access is possible remotely from different locations. So in this type of local area, LAN networks or networking operating systems, the server access is possible remotely. So we can remotely accessed by the servers in a different locations, from different locations. And the next disadvantages of networking operating systems are servers are costly, and user has to depend on a central location for most operations. So definitely user has depended on central location. Central location means the main server wherever it was located in there, right? So the user has to depend on that central location for most operations. And finally, we have the real-time operating system. In this real-time operating system, actually the structure was we don't have properly noted, because in this type of operating systems, the time interval required to the process and respond to the input is very small. Means here the time interval between the user and the operating system is plays the main role actually. Means actually in this real-time operating system, we have two types of operating systems. Those are hard real and soft real. In this type of operating systems, the time interval is very less. We use very less frequent of time in between the user and the operating system. Means if user give any action, definitely in the fraction of seconds, the operating system was responded to that request. So like that time interval is very less in this type of hard real operating systems. Coming to the soft real type operating system, in this soft real time systems, the time interval in between the user and the operating system is little bit large compared to the hard real. And for the example of these soft real time operating systems, this type of operating systems we are mainly used in our weather forecasting and in our video recordings. In this, because little bit delay is happened, that is not an issue, because the time interval between the user and operating system is little bit larger compared to the real time, hard real time. So these type of soft real operating systems are mainly used in our video sessions and recordings and in weather forecasting delays. So in that places, these are all main operating systems we have in our operating systems course. That's it. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.